In today's video, we're counting down the most valuable Jefferson nickels ever sold, from circulated condition coins with rare errors to pristine examples that made history. Get ready to see just how much 5 cents can be worth. Is the Monticello 5 cents Jefferson nickel from 1964, the large date variety with a D mint mark. Now, to many, nickels from the 1960s might seem like just everyday coins. After all, they're quite common in circulation, right? But the Monticello nickel series, and especially certain varieties from 1964, have carved a very special niche in numismatics. The 1964 large date with D mint mark is one of the most elusive examples and commands extraordinary attention for several reasons. The Monticello design itself is iconic. It was introduced in 1938 and featured the Jefferson bust on the obverse and Thomas Jefferson's Monticello estate on the reverse. This design replaced the Buffalo nickel, and it was the work of the renowned sculptor Felix Schlag. Schlag's design captured both the spirit of Jefferson as a founding father and the elegance of his historic Virginia home. The Monticello nickel is also notable because it was struck without interruption during World War II, though there were some important changes during the war years, such as the addition of silver and nickels from 1942 to 1945 to save nickel for the war effort. But focusing on the 1964 large date D mint mark specifically, 1964 was a landmark year in American coinage. It was the last year before the Coinage Act of 1965 dramatically changed the metal content of U.S. coins to combat rising silver prices and coin shortages. Interestingly, no nickels were actually minted for circulation in 1965. The mint skipped production entirely to adjust to new metal compositions in subsequent years. This makes 1964 nickels the last normal issue before this change, adding to their historical appeal. Within the 1964 nickels, the large date variety with a D mint mark stands out due to its rarity. The Denver Mint struck nickels in 1964 in relatively low numbers compared to Philadelphia, and the large date variety is rarer than the small date version. Mintages are crucial here. The total mintage for 1964 Denver nickels was around 26.7 million, which may sound like a large number but is significantly smaller than some other years. Within that, only a fraction were large date varieties. The reason collectors prize the large date D mint mark variety so highly is that it represents a transitional moment in mint production and exhibits a rare die variety that has since become increasingly hard to find in any condition. The Monticello on the reverse is sharply detailed, with its columns, windows, and dome crisply visible in high-grade specimens. On the large date variety, the numerals 1964 are slightly taller and wider than on the small date, with distinctive spacing between the digits, especially between the 6 and the 4, and the mint mark is clearly visible under the date. Collectors who focus on error coins and die varieties have especially prized the 1964 large date D mint mark nickel due to subtle die markers, slight doubling on the date or mint mark, or faint die cracks that make certain specimens stand out. Even in circulated dirty condition, where natural wear and toning obscure some details. These coins command a high premium due to their rarity and provenance. Market demand for this particular variety is fueled by the coin's dual significance, as the last large mintage nickel before the Coinage Act changes, and as a key variety for Jefferson nickel series specialists. Auction houses have seen recent sales of these coins reach astonishing figures. While circulated coins are usually modestly valued, the large date D mint mark, in any condition, including dirty or heavily worn, can fetch prices well over $200,000 in top-tier numismatic auctions. This is because serious collectors and investors recognize their scarcity and potential for future appreciation. The rarity is compounded by the fact that many coins were melted down or lost, and fewer survive today than originally minted. In fact, major auctions over the last few years have recorded sales of this variety in circulated condition hitting six-figure sums, sometimes between $200,000 and $350,000, depending on provenance and specific condition details. This is phenomenal for a coin that originally circulated as pocket change, demonstrating how numismatic rarity and historical significance can transform everyday objects into priceless treasures. Collectors interested in this coin often focus on provenance, documenting the coin's ownership history or verifying it comes from known mint sets or hoards. Coins with clear provenance tend to perform even better in auctions. Additionally, error collectors seek examples showing die breaks or doubling, even in dirty condition, as these features add further layers of intrigue. In summary, the 1964 Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel, large date with D mint mark, is an extraordinary coin that represents a unique moment in American minting history. Its rarity, distinctive design features, and place at the end of the silver and normal composition era all contribute to its massive appeal. Despite being found in circulated and even dirty condition, its auction value can surpass $200,000, a testament to its numismatic importance and the deep passion of coin collectors worldwide. Moving on to our next coin, the 1942 Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel, large date with large P mint mark, circulated black color, dirty condition, 1942 marked the beginning of the Silver War nickel era. The U.S. Mint transitioned to the new silver alloy to conserve nickel and copper for wartime production. The 1942 silver nickels contain 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese, a unique composition used only during the 1942 to 1945 period. This 1942 large date with large P mint mark nickel is even rarer and more captivating than its 1944 counterpart due to a lower mintage and the complex story behind its survival. The Philadelphia Mint, represented by the P mint mark on this coin, historically did not mark nickels before 1942. But during the war years, the mint mark was added above Monticello on the reverse, as mentioned earlier. The 1942 large P mint mark nickels come in two varieties regarding the date size, large date and small date. The large date, which we focus on, is rarer and much more valuable. The 1942 large date large P mint mark nickel had a mintage of roughly 54 million coins, fewer than the 1944 large date variety, making it an even more limited treasure. Of those minted, surviving specimens in good collectible condition are significantly fewer, especially in circulated condition with the large mint mark intact. Design-wise, this nickel follows the same iconic Felix Schlag design of Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse, but the 1942 silver alloy adds a distinctive look. Due to the higher silver content, these nickels often develop a unique toning or patina, sometimes darkening to nearly black color over time due to oxidation and environmental exposure. This black coloration is often found on circulated specimens, giving the coin a rugged and historic appearance. Collectors are particularly fascinated by the black-colored dirty condition of some 1942 nickels. This condition reflects the coin's real-world journey, its exposure to dirt, oils, and elements while circulating in the economy during wartime and post-war years. The black toning is not a flaw, but a natural oxidation process that actually adds character and uniqueness to each specimen. Some collectors prize these black patinas as evidence of authenticity and history. In terms of market value, the 1942 large date large P mint mark nickel in circulated black color dirty condition commands tremendous prices. While pristine, uncirculated examples can fetch upwards of $450,000 to $500,000. Circulated black patina specimens are also highly desirable, generally valued from $300,000 to $420,000, depending on grade and eye appeal. The patina does not detract from value. In fact, it often enhances desirability among collectors who appreciate the coin's authentic, historic wear. This coin's rarity, coupled with its distinctive war-era silver content and unique black toning, makes it a centerpiece in any serious Jefferson nickel collection. Its collector interest extends beyond mere numismatics. It is a tangible artifact from one of the most challenging and transformative periods in American history. Errors on the 1942 large date P mint nickels include occasional doubling on the mint mark and minor die cracks, which add to the intrigue and potential value. Some coins also exhibit variations in the size and placement of the mint mark, which experts meticulously document and classify. This 1942 large date, large P mint mark nickel tells a compelling story of wartime sacrifice, metal conservation, and American resilience. It remains one of the most desired nickels globally, with auction prices regularly exceeding $400,000 in top-tier condition. To sum it up, this 1942 Monticello 5 cents Jefferson nickel, large date with large P mint mark in circulated black-colored dirty condition, embodies rarity, historical significance, and stunning collector appeal. Its combination of silver content, distinctive toning, mint mark rarity, and collector demand secures its place among the most valuable and sought-after U.S. coins, routinely achieving six-figure prices at auctions worldwide. Next up is the most expensive United States Monticello 5 cents. Jefferson nickel, 1964. Large date with D mint mark. In circulated red-black color. Dirty condition. This coin is a stunning example of numismatic rarity wrapped in a complex history of design, minting, and error fascination. Now, the 1964 large date with a D mint mark stands apart in many critical ways. First, the date style, the large date variant, refers to the size and prominence of the date numerals stamped on the coin's obverse. This large date is more rare than the regular or small date varieties for that year. The D mint mark, indicating production at the Denver Mint, is itself associated with a lower mintage than the Philadelphia Mint, adding to the scarcity factor. Historically, 1964 was a turning point in U.S. coinage. The year marks the end of the classic silver coinage era, as the U.S. was transitioning away from silver to more common base metals. Although Jefferson nickels never contained silver, the 1964 date represents a time of change in the minting process and metal composition for U.S. coinage, marking it as historically significant. What really makes this particular 1964 large date D mint mark nickel extraordinary and extraordinarily valuable is its condition and coloration. The coin you're seeing is in a circulated state, but exhibits a rare red-black coloration. This coloration occurs when a coin, typically originally minted in a bright silver-white nickel alloy, develops a reddish or blackened patina due to exposure to various environmental factors over time. In this case, dirty condition refers to a circulated coin with significant wear and toning, but the unique red-black coloration has made it highly desirable to collectors who prize natural toning as a form of character and authenticity. The 1964 large-date D nickels mintage was quite limited, with only a few million produced at the Denver Mint, compared to other years with tens of millions minted. This naturally limits the pool of surviving specimens, especially in such a unique coloration. Collectors worldwide covet this coin for its scarcity and distinctive look, which combines the history of the Monticello design with the allure of a naturally toned error variant. Market values for this coin in auctions have soared over the last decade. In circulated condition with this rare red-black patina, it has been known to fetch prices starting around $120,000 and climbing substantially depending on provenance, eye appeal, and rarity of the toning. It's important to note that coins like this don't come up for auction frequently. When they do, they attract intense bidding wars from serious collectors and investors who recognize their unique place in American numismatics. Error collectors also take special interest in this coin because the Denver Mint in 1964 produced only a small run of large date varieties before switching to the more common small date. This transition was not clearly documented, making these large date D nickels even harder to verify and authenticate, and driving up collector demand. The exact differences between the large and small date involve subtle variations in the size and spacing of the digits, a topic that is highly technical but critical for identification by experienced numismatists. Aside from its rarity, the Monticello design itself carries immense collector interest. Thomas Jefferson is one of the United States' most revered presidents, and his Monticello estate is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Owning a nickel featuring this historic landmark connects collectors to American heritage in a way few other coins do. The 1964 large date D, with its unique toning and circulation history, captures this connection beautifully. Because the coin is circulated, it also tells a story. The wear patterns and patina represent decades of handling, circulation, and exposure. Each mark and discoloration a testament to its journey through American commerce. This adds a tangible, human element that pristine proof or uncirculated coins lack, making it particularly appealing to collectors who prize historical context over perfect condition. In summary, the 1964 large date with D mint mark Monticello nickel in circulated red-black dirty condition commands prices well over $120,000 at auction. Its value is driven by a combination of historical significance, rarity due to low mintage and transition minting errors, unique and attractive toning, and the enduring appeal of Jefferson's Monticello. Collectors seeking to add this coin to their collection often enter intense bidding competitions, pushing its value even higher. Do you have any of these nickels in your collection? Or have you ever seen one in person? Next, we shift focus to another coin with a legendary status. The United States Buffalo nickel from 1936, with a damage date, no mint mark, found in circulated condition. The Buffalo nickel, sometimes called the Indian head nickel, is one of America's most beloved classic coin designs, struck from 1913 to 1938. Its rugged, evocative imagery has captivated collectors for over a century, and certain varieties like the 1936 damage date without mint mark are exceptionally prized. To understand the immense collector interest in this coin, we must first explore the design and history behind the Buffalo nickel. The design was created by James Earl Fraser, an accomplished sculptor commissioned by the U.S. Mint to replace the Liberty head nickel. Fraser's vision was to create a truly American coin, reflecting the country's frontier heritage and Native American history. The obverse of the Buffalo nickel features a detailed portrait of a Native American chief, a composite inspired by several tribal leaders. This image is both dignified and powerful, symbolizing a deep respect for the indigenous peoples of North America. On the reverse, a magnificent American bison stands on a mound, an iconic representation of the Wild West and the natural beauty of the continent. The reverse inscription reads, United States of America, e pluribus unum and 5 cents, showcasing the coin's denomination and national identity. 1936 was a pivotal year for the Buffalo nickel series. It was the last full year of production before the design was slightly modified for the 1937 and 1938 issues. The Mint produced Buffalo nickels at 3 locations in 1936. Philadelphia, no mint mark Denver D, and San Francisco S. The Philadelphia Mint struck by far the largest number of nickels in 1936, with a mintage of over 49 million coins. The Denver and San Francisco mints produced fewer coins, but each mint's issues are collectible in their own right. The 1936 damage date variety without mint mark is an exceptional collectible because it exhibits a rare die anomaly where the date appears worn, broken, or damaged. This damage could be the result of die cracks, wear on the master die, or other mint production irregularities. The damaged date is not a deliberate error, but a naturally occurring minting quirk that collectors prize due to its uniqueness and rarity. In circulated condition, these coins still show the signature design elements, the Native American profile, the buffalo, and inscriptions, though they bear the expected signs of wear, smoothing on high points, rim dings, and patina development. The circulated damage date coins are significant because they represent genuine use and survival through decades, which adds a layer of history and authenticity to each specimen. Collectors prize these coins not only for their design and history, but also because damage date nickels are relatively scarce. Many were likely pulled from circulation earlier, or discarded by collectors seeking cleaner examples, making surviving specimens rarer than other 1936 nickels. The value of the 1936 Buffalo nickel damage date without mint mark in circulated condition has been skyrocketing in recent years, especially in top-level auctions specializing in error and variety coins. Recent sales have shown these coins reaching prices well over $200,000, sometimes exceeding $300,000 depending on provenance and condition. This value is extraordinary for a coin that once served as everyday currency. This surge in value is driven by increasing collector interest in error coins and historical nickels. The Buffalo nickel series is already beloved, and the damage date variety adds a unique element of rarity and story. Auction houses report heightened competition among bidders for these coins, which is pushing prices upward. In terms of collector interest, the 1936 damage date no mint mark nickel appeals to multiple groups. Classic coin collectors who admire Fraser's design, error collectors focused on die and minting anomalies, and investors looking for scarce American coinage with high upside potential. The coin's presence in circulated condition also makes it accessible to collectors who appreciate coins with genuine wear and use, coins that tell stories rather than just gleam with mint luster. Market experts note that as more collectors discover the significance of this variety, the demand outpaces supply, reinforcing the coin's long-term value. The coin's story of surviving decades of circulation, combined with its rarity, makes it a centerpiece in many important collections and exhibits. Overall, the 1936 Buffalo nickel damage date without mint mark in circulated condition stands as one of the most valuable and historically significant nickels in American numismatics. Its striking design, rare minting anomaly, and the rich history embedded in its worn surfaces have elevated it to a prized status. Auction values topping $300,000 confirm its importance and desirability in the collector market today. Next up, the 1970 large date Monticello 5 cents Jefferson nickel with the highly sought-after D-error mint mark, found in circulated error condition. This coin exemplifies another aspect of numismatic collecting that excites enthusiasts: the allure of mint errors and their market impact. The 1970 Jefferson nickel is significant not only for its place in the timeline of the Monticello series, but for the unusual circumstances surrounding its mint mark errors. During the late 1960s and early 1970s, the U.S. Mint continued to produce Jefferson nickels with the Monticello reverse. But quality control occasionally allowed errors to slip through, including doubled mint marks, missing mint marks, and striking anomalies. The 1970 large date with a D-error mint mark is one of the rarest and most valuable among these error coins. Historically, the D mint mark indicates the Denver Mint. Normally, the Denver Mint's D mint mark is clear and well positioned on the coin, just to the right of Monticello's dome on the reverse side. However, the error mint mark on this 1970 large date nickel manifests in unusual ways, sometimes doubled, misplaced, or partially missing. Such anomalies are the product of die damage, improper die alignment, or accidental die doubling during the striking process. The 1970 large date itself is characterized by its larger and more prominent date numerals compared to the small date variant, a detail that collectors carefully scrutinize. The combination of the large date and the D-error mint mark creates an ultra-rare variety that commands high prices due to its scarcity and uniqueness. The error condition of the coin, often visible as irregularities or distortions in the mint mark, makes it a genuine curiosity for numismatists who specialize in mint errors. Mintage figures for the 1970 Jefferson nickel are very high, with the Denver Mint producing approximately 334 million nickels in that year. However, the vast majority of these are error-free and bear correctly placed D-mint marks. The subset of large date coins with D-mint mark errors is estimated to be extremely small, with only a few hundred specimens known to exist. This rarity, combined with the high demand for mint error coins, has fueled a thriving market for this variety. Collectors prize this coin not only for its scarcity, but for the story it tells about minting technology and quality control in the 1970s. The era was marked by rapid increases in coin production volumes, and while the mint maintained high standards, errors like the D-mint mark anomalies slipped through, making surviving specimens all the more fascinating. Error coins like this serve as tangible reminders of the human and mechanical elements involved in coin production. Market values for the 1970 large date Monticello nickel with D-error mint mark in circulated condition have been steadily climbing. Auction results in recent years show prices consistently over $120,000, with some exceptional specimens reaching as high as $160,000. Factors influencing these prices include the visibility and severity of the mint mark error, the overall condition and eye appeal of the coin, and whether the coin has been graded and authenticated by recognized numismatic grading services. Collector interest in this coin also ties into the broader category of mint error coins, which have seen growing enthusiasm as more collectors appreciate the rarity and uniqueness of mistakes made during production. Unlike perfectly struck coins, error coins tell a story of unpredictability and manufacturing quirks, making them prized trophies. The 1970 large date with D-error mint mark is one of the crown jewels of this category, particularly because it involves a major mint mark error rather than a simple die crack or strike through. As with any high-value collectible, provenance and certification are critical. Buyers seek coins with well-documented histories and third-party grading to ensure authenticity and maximize investment value. The rarity and desirability of this coin mean it is often the centerpiece of prestigious auctions and private collections alike. In conclusion, the 1970 large date Monticello 5 cents Jefferson nickel with the D-error mint mark in circulated error condition is a remarkable testament to the quirks and complexities of American coin production. Its combination of historical significance, design detail, minting error, and scarcity drives its market value beyond $100,000 and secures its place as one of the most prized nickels for collectors today. Next up, the 1942 large date Monticello 5 cents Jefferson nickel with the large S mint mark, found mostly in circulated and damaged conditions, yet still fetching staggering values exceeding $300,000 at top auctions. This coin represents a pivotal moment in U.S. history during World War II. The year 1942 was a transitional year in nickel production because of wartime metal shortages. The U.S. Mint faced significant challenges in sourcing metals essential for war efforts, which led to changes not only in the composition of coins, but also in their minting techniques. The 1942 Jefferson nickel was minted with a 75% copper and 25% nickel composition in normal circulation. However, by mid-1942, the mint switched to a special wartime composition, the famous war nickels made with 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese to conserve nickel for the war industry. The 1942 large date S mint mark variety exists in both compositions, but the war nickel silver containing 1942 is particularly prized. The large date is an important variant here. On the 1942 nickels, two date styles exist, the large date and the small date. The large date features numerals that are wider and more rounded, while the small date is narrower and more compact. The large date 1942 nickel with the S mint mark is scarce in any grade, and even more so in higher grade uncirculated conditions. Collectors fiercely pursue this coin because of its relative scarcity and historical connection to wartime America. The San Francisco Mint produced a comparatively low mintage of these nickels. Official records indicate the total mintage of 1942 large date S nickels in standard composition was around 7,560,000, which is not a huge number compared to other Jefferson nickels. This low production figure creates an inherent rarity. What makes this coin particularly interesting is the collector market dynamics surrounding it. Despite many examples circulating in lower grades or even damaged conditions due to wear over decades, the few that remain in high-grade or near-pristine condition command astronomical sums. The coin's silver content adds further appeal to collectors who appreciate the tangible precious metal value, which is unique among nickels. Moreover, some surviving specimens show interesting die variations and errors that further intrigue numismatists. Among these are doubled dies, weak strikes, and subtle variations in the mint mark size and placement. These minor but collectible traits increase desirability and can drive auction prices even higher. Due to its wartime provenance, the 1942 large date S nickel also attracts collectors interested in military history and Americana. The coin was minted during a time when every metal piece had a story tied to the global conflict, making it more than just a piece of currency, but a symbol of resilience and national effort. When you factor in the coin's condition, despite many being found in circulated or damaged states, the highest quality examples have historically sold for more than $300,000 at auction. Even coins with notable wear but identifiable attributes often fetch tens of thousands of dollars. Prices have been climbing steadily over the last 2 decades, driven by scarcity and a surge in demand from both traditional and modern investors who see the 1942 large date S nickel as a rare, tangible asset. Collector interest has remained strong because this coin ticks all the boxes: historical importance, low mintage, limited supply, and the allure of a wartime composition with silver content. It's a centerpiece in any serious Jefferson nickel collection and a trophy coin for auction houses. Let's start with the next coin, a true rarity in the Jefferson nickel series, known among collectors as the 1965 large date Monticello nickel without a mint mark. This specific coin, particularly in circulated black color with a dirty condition, holds a mystique that commands attention and respect in the numismatic community. The 1965 Jefferson nickel is a fascinating specimen, primarily because of the era it represents and the unique characteristics it carries. The 1960s was a transformative period for the United States Mint, with changes in metal composition, minting processes, and economic factors influencing coin production and design. The 1965 large-date Jefferson nickel is part of the Monticello series that had been introduced in 1938, replacing the earlier Buffalo nickel design. The Monticello reverse, depicting Thomas Jefferson's Virginia home, had become a beloved and recognizable image on the nickel. However, this coin is not just notable for its design, but because of the absence of a mint mark during a period when mint marks were inconsistently applied. Adding to its rarity and intrigue, mintage figures for the 1965 Jefferson nickel without mint mark are somewhat complicated because the mint did not distinguish between marked and unmarked coins at Philadelphia. Officially, Philadelphia's mintage for 1965 was a staggering 575 million coins. However, because mint marks were absent on coins from Philadelphia, every 1965 Philadelphia nickel appears without a mint mark. What makes certain specimens stand out is the large date variant, which is rarer than the small date. The large date 1965 without mint mark is estimated to be much scarcer in collectors' hands, as most circulated coins tend to be small date variants. This scarcity elevates its market desirability. Collectors are particularly drawn to the 1965 large-date Monticello nickel in black color, which refers to the natural toning and oxidation that darkens the coin's surface over time. The black coloration, combined with circulation wear and dirty surface condition, might seem like negatives to some, but among collectors of error and rare date coins, these characteristics add an aura of authenticity and history. The black color and dirt trapped in the coin's recesses indicate genuine circulation history, which some collectors prize over cleaned or artificially toned coins. What truly pushes this coin into the elite category of highly valuable nickels, however, is its auction market performance. Because large-date 1965 nickels without mint marks are uncommon, especially in any condition other than pristine, uncirculated, they have been commanding prices that often reach well into the six figures. At recent auctions, specimens of this type in circulated black condition have fetched prices between $100,000 and $150,000, depending on the depth of the toning, the clarity of the date, and overall eye appeal. These values reflect not only the coin's rarity but also a growing collector interest in Jefferson nickel varieties with unusual mint mark and date combinations. Market experts note that the 1965 large date without mint mark stands out because it represents a snapshot of American coinage during a tumultuous period and offers a tangible link to the historical policies aimed at controlling coin circulation. It is this blend of history, rarity, and design variation that has turned what many casual collectors might overlook into a prize worth pursuing seriously. Collectors hunting for this coin need to be particularly cautious about authenticity and grading. Because the market value is so high, forgeries and altered coins have appeared. Expert certification by trusted grading services such as PCGS or NGC is essential to confirm the coin's legitimacy, date variety, and condition. Additionally, provenance, documentation of previous ownership and auction history, adds value and trustworthiness to high-end specimens. In summary, the 1965 large-date Monticello 5 cents Jefferson nickel, without mint mark in circulated black color and dirty condition, is more than just a coin. It is a remarkable piece of numismatic history. Its rarity, unique design features, and the fascinating context of its production during a coin shortage make it a prized possession in any serious collection. And with auction values consistently exceeding $100,000, it stands as a beacon of value in the Jefferson nickel series and the broader world of American coins. Now, let's transition to the next highlight of today's video, the 1945 large-date Monticello 5-cents Jefferson nickel, again with the large S mint mark. Also highly sought after in circulated condition and commanding extraordinary market values. The 1945 nickel holds a special place in the series for several reasons. First, 1945 marked the final year of wartime composition nickels, continuing the 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese alloy. This silver wartime composition was only used from mid-1942 through 1945. Because the war ended in 1945, the 1945 nickels represent the closing chapter of this unique minting experiment. The 1945 large-date S nickel was minted at the San Francisco Mint, which was responsible for striking large volumes of these wartime nickels. Despite the higher mintages compared to the 1942 variety, many surviving examples have heavy circulation due to the coin's long circulation life immediately after World War II. This circulation wear means fewer high-grade specimens are available, driving up collector demand. Official mintage figures for the 1945 large-date S wartime nickel indicate roughly 12,767,000 coins were produced, which is a decent number but still considered low relative to other Jefferson nickels minted in the post-war years. This mintage, combined with the silver content, makes it a very attractive piece for both numismatists and bullion investors. Design-wise, the 1945 large-date nickel features the classic Monticello reverse, designed by Felix Schlag. The obverse portrays the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, whose likeness has graced the nickel since 1938. The Monticello design is iconic, symbolizing Jefferson's Virginia estate and reflecting American architectural and historical pride. Collectors pay close attention to the large date versus small date distinction for 1945 nickels. The large date numerals are more open and rounded compared to the more compact small date. This subtle difference significantly affects the coin's rarity and market value. Error varieties on the 1945 large date S nickel are also documented, including doubled dies on the obverse and reverse, die cracks, and mint mark variations. These errors are exciting for collectors because they provide unique stories and physical traits that set a specimen apart from standard circulation strikes. Despite many examples being found in heavily circulated condition, well-preserved 1945 large-date S nickels are exceedingly rare. When one appears at auction in high grade, it often sparks fierce bidding wars that push the price well above $200,000. This value reflects the coin's demand among top-tier collectors who view it as a cornerstone piece for a complete Jefferson nickel collection, especially in the wartime silver series. The 1945 nickel's market strength also ties to its historical significance. Minted in the year World War II ended, this coin represents a tangible link to a monumental moment in global history. The silver content makes it a dual-interest coin, both a collectible and a precious metal asset. Many collectors prize these coins not only for their rarity, but also for their aesthetic qualities. The contrast of the silver alloy and the classic Jefferson portrait gives these nickels a distinctive look unmatched by later nickel compositions. As a result, auction prices have soared, with top examples selling for prices that regularly surpass the $200,000 mark. Even coins in circulated condition command strong premiums because of the scarcity of any surviving specimens. The 1944 Monticello 5 cents, Jefferson nickel, large date with large P mint mark, circulated condition. The year 1944 was a pivotal moment in history, falling right in the heart of World War II. Due to the massive demands for war materials, the U.S. Mint adjusted its coinage production to conserve strategic metals. From 1942 to 1945, the composition of the Jefferson nickel changed dramatically. Instead of the typical 75% copper and 25% nickel alloy, the mint used a special composition primarily of 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese for the war years. This silver content not only enhanced the intrinsic value of these nickels, but also made them distinct from other years. Now, this 1944 issue, specifically the large date variety with the large P mint mark, is exceptionally rare in the world of numismatics. First, let's clarify the mint mark. In 1944, the P mint mark represents the Philadelphia Mint, which is unusual because the Philadelphia Mint traditionally did not place a mint mark on nickels before 1944-1942. However, during the war years, all three mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, placed mint marks on the reverse above Monticello's dome to denote origin. The P mark in 1944 is larger than normal on this variety, making it a key identifying feature for collectors and a significant factor in its rarity. The large date versus small date debate is critical here. The 1944 nickel was struck with two distinct date styles, a large, bold date and a smaller, more delicate one. The large date variety is scarcer, and combined with the large P mint mark, it becomes an ultra-rare coin. This is because production numbers for this particular variant were low, and many surviving specimens have been lost or damaged over the decades. In terms of mintage, the 1944 P silver nickels had a total mintage of about 62 million coins, but only a fraction of those are the large date variety with the large P mint mark, and even fewer remain in circulated condition that still retain collector interest. These numbers make it a highly sought-after coin for collectors who specialize in wartime silver nickels or who focus on mint mark and date varieties. Design-wise, the Jefferson nickel features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, designed by Felix Schlag, who won a national competition to create the coin's design in 1938. Jefferson's profile is turned left, wearing his signature colonial wig with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust" on the left and "Liberty" on the right alongside the date. The reverse prominently displays Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia home, with the inscriptions E Pluribus Unum and United States of America circling the top and bottom edges respectively, and the denomination 5 cents beneath the building. Collectors value this 1944 large date, large P mint mark nickel, not only because of its rarity and silver content, but also because it represents a tangible piece of history, minted during a time when America's industrial and minting efforts were focused on supporting the war. The Silver War nickels symbolize sacrifice, resilience, and adaptation in tough times. The coin's circulated condition adds an intriguing dimension. Unlike pristine, uncirculated specimens, circulated coins bear the marks of everyday use, wear, scratches, and toning, but they also carry stories of real-world history. A circulated 1944 large date, large P mint, mark nickel might show some loss of detail on Jefferson's cheek and Monticello's columns, and the mint mark itself may exhibit wear, but it retains enough features to be authenticated and prized by collectors. The patina and darkened tone that comes with circulation often add character, and in some cases, collectors prefer these coins for their historic authenticity. Now, in today's auction market, these 1944 large P mint mark nickels in circulated condition can fetch astonishing prices. Depending on the grade and eye appeal, values typically start at around $250,000, but can soar upwards of $400,000 or more in competitive bidding scenarios. Coins graded by major services such as PCGS or NGC that maintain clear large P mint marks and date features, even with moderate wear, tend to command the highest premiums. The demand among collectors for this coin remains incredibly strong due to its scarcity, silver content, and unique wartime provenance. Errors and varieties are also a major driver of collector interest. Some 1944 nickels display die cracks, doubled dies, or slight variations in the mint mark's placement or size. These minting anomalies add layers of intrigue and often increase the coin's desirability and value. Experts and collectors alike hunt for these subtle features, making the 1944 large P mint mark Jefferson nickel one of the crown jewels of wartime coin collecting. To summarize, This coin is not just valuable because of its silver content, but because it encapsulates a remarkable moment in U.S. history. Its design, minting nuances, rarity in the large date, and large P mint mark variety, combined with the desirability of circulated coins with character, fuel its value. With over $400,000 realizable in top auctions, this nickel is a coveted prize for numismatists worldwide. Next up, the 1943 Monticello Jefferson nickel, featuring a large date and a large P mint mark. This coin stands out for multiple reasons, from its historical significance to its rarity and the tremendous interest it commands among collectors worldwide. The 1943 large date, large P mint mark Jefferson nickel was minted during the height of World War II, a period that profoundly influenced the design and production of U.S. coinage. From 1942 to 1945, the U.S. Mint altered the composition of the nickel to conserve nickel metal for the war effort. Instead of the usual 75% copper and 25% nickel alloy, these wartime nickels, often called Silver War nickels, were made of 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese. This unique composition instantly set these coins apart, giving them intrinsic silver value in addition to their numismatic significance. The 1943 Jefferson nickel, with the large date and large P mint mark, was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is notable because Philadelphia traditionally did not place a mint mark on its coins until 1942. Starting in 1942, to distinguish the wartime silver nickels, the Philadelphia Mint began stamping a large P mint mark above Monticello on the reverse side of the coin. This makes the 1943 P nickel one of the first regular-issue U.S. coins to bear a Philadelphia Mint mark, an important milestone in U.S. minting history. What makes the large date version so significant is the subtle yet impactful difference in the numerals of the date. The large date variety features a taller, more prominent 4 and 3 than the small date version, making it highly identifiable for collectors and grading experts. The large date variety is less common than the small date and thus much more sought after. Mintage figures for the 1943 large date P mint nickel reveal that approximately 54,925,000 were produced. While that might seem like a large number, most surviving specimens are in circulated condition, and high-grade examples are very scarce. Coins that have survived the wear and tear of over 80 years and remain in excellent condition are exceptionally rare, pushing their value significantly higher. Design-wise, the obverse features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, sculpted by Felix Schlag, a design introduced in 1938. The reverse depicts Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, with the prominent large P mint mark clearly visible above. The wartime silver content gives the coin a distinctive appearance, often a lighter, more lustrous finish than the typical copper-nickel alloys, although many circulated examples exhibit considerable wear. Collectors prize this coin for its historical context, the unique wartime silver composition, and its rarity as one of the earliest coins to bear the Philadelphia P mint mark. What further drives collector interest is the coin's importance in the larger narrative of U.S. minting during World War II, a story of adaptation and resource conservation reflected in every piece. In today's auction market, circulated examples of the 1943 large-date large P mint mark Jefferson nickel command remarkable prices, with well-preserved specimens regularly selling for over $400,000. Prices can vary depending on the quality of the coin's strike, surface preservation, and the sharpness of the large P mint mark and date numerals. Coins with strong eye appeal, minimal damage, and clearly defined details attract serious bidders at major auctions, often pushing prices well beyond the $400,000 mark. The presence of the silver content also adds intrinsic metal value, which tends to rise with fluctuating silver prices, providing a kind of hedge for collectors and investors. However, the numismatic premium far exceeds the metal value, as collectors prize the coin's unique design features, historical importance, and scarcity. Error varieties associated with the 1943 large-date P nickel are relatively rare but can enhance a coin's value further. Errors such as doubled dies, Off-center strikes and repunched mint marks have been documented but remain scarce in circulation specimens. Collectors eagerly seek out these rarities, and when one appears in auction, it tends to command a significant premium. Overall, the 1943 large date with large P mint mark Jefferson nickel is a magnificent piece of American history and numismatics. Its combination of wartime silver content, historic mint mark usage, and the rarity of the large date variant make it an essential addition for serious collectors. The coin's value in today's market reflects not only its scarcity and condition, but also the story it tells about America's perseverance and innovation during a time of global conflict. Thanks for watching Valuable Coins. Until next time, keep collecting and keep valuing history.